Yes, a very good evening to you, and you're very welcome to another busy On the Ball here on WLR. Very shortly, former Waterford and Tipperary hurler Andy Maloney will chat to us ahead of the Munster Senior Hurling Championship, which kicks off in earnest on Sunday afternoon. Yes, it's Waterford against Clare, live from Thurles at 3:30pm on Sunday. We'll continue our build-up to the virtual Waterford Viking Marathon, which kicks off on Thursday, running right through till Sunday. Also a look back at the other top sporting stories from the weekend, and former Waterford FC manager Franny Rocket will join us to preview a big one for the Blues this evening. Yes, we're live from Bishopsgate as well very shortly, as Waterford FC are in Longford Town.
Teams now are adjusting accordingly as well with the way they set up, and their puck out strategy is big now versus from my time playing, and you move with the times. That's modern game, and that's life in general. It keeps moving and you have to move with it or get left behind. The ball is starting to fly, and it's, thank God, like it's summer hurling again, and it's great to have it back.
Summer hurling, it's great to have it back. Yes, you're very welcome along to the programme. Monday the 21st of June, summer solstice day, so hope you're enjoying the best of that. Waterford hurling boss Liam Cahill there. The countdown is on to the Munster Senior Hurling Championship, which kicks off in earnest on Sunday afternoon. It's the quarter-final showdown live from Semple Stadium in Thurles on Sunday afternoon as Waterford and Clare lock horns. It's our George Corbett Skoda big match live from Thurles. We'll be joining Kieran O'Connor and Owen Murphy at 3:15pm in plenty time for the throw-in at 3:30pm. And it's also a big match double-header weekend in terms of the big matches, because George Corbett Skoda big match on Saturday is the Munster Senior Football Championship quarter-final as Waterford travel to the LIT Gaelic grounds to take on Limerick. Tomás McCarthy and Jason Ryan going to be calling the action there, so it's a bumper weekend of action and much more throughout the week, and indeed on Lorna Porca with Tomás on Friday, and indeed Nigel back in the On the Ball hot seat on Saturday. But we are going to start with that hurling fixture, Waterford against Clare. It's a repeat of the All-Ireland quarter-final last year in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. I'm just going to play you a few snippets from that game. It was a day where Waterford hit 3 goals, and Desi Hutchinson, who's razor sharp at the minute, also netted 2 as Waterford defeated the Banner to qualify for the All-Ireland semi-final.
Certainly in these early stages, as that first ball runs through to Stephen Bennett. Takes Shane O'Morey, he has options left and right. Bennett decides to use one of them. It's Gleeson, good save, second follow-up and buried in the back of the net. It's a goal for Desi Hutchinson. It's his first in senior championship hurling, and it comes inside 2 minutes. From David McInerney is at the other end. There's another break on. Hutchinson's in again. It's another goal for Waterford. It's another for Desi Hutchinson. The Clare backline marked absent, and Hutchinson makes them pay. Gathered instead by Ryan Taylor. There's a loose man inside. He picks him out beautifully. It was McInerney to another unmarked teammate. It's Shanaher. Brilliant from Clare. Brilliant from Shanaher. And the Banner are right back in the match. Waterford 3:27. Clare 3:18.
Yeah, that was the 2020 All-Ireland quarter-final, the last championship meeting between Waterford and Clare. Waterford coming out on top on that occasion. Clare, of course, defeating Kilkenny in the last round of the league. Tony Kelly looking sharp. Aaron Shanaher as well, still about up front. John Conlon back at centre-back. Couple of injury concerns for Waterford as well. It remains to be seen whether they will be right, but I'm sure we'll learn more as the week goes on. But for now, it's just really looking forward to it, and throw the ball in, as they say, on Sunday afternoon. Colm Lyons of Cork has been appointed, by the way, as the match referee for Sunday's game. And to look ahead and preview the action on Sunday, earlier on this afternoon, I spoke to former Daisha and former Tipperary hurler Andy Maloney, who of course led Ballyhale Shamrocks to All-Ireland club glory as well as manager. And first of all, put it to him about the importance of Sunday's game and a great opportunity for both counties to get an early championship win and set up a Munster semi-final meeting with Tipperary, who are waiting in the wings.
Yeah, it should be a great game, Gavin. You know, I suppose the league has been an opportunity for teams, I suppose, to try out different players in different positions and what have you. But we're into the business end of it here now on Sunday, and looking forward to the game, because Waterford and Clare, down through the years, have always give up good fare, you know, in terms of the hurling, and I suppose the ferociousness of the battle really between the two counties has been fairly good over the years, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, as you say, Andy, you alluded to the league there. Waterford, you know, won their 3 home games in Welsh Park, lost to Galway and Cork on the road, but overall I think it was a progressive league, I suppose, from Waterford's point of view?
I think it was, to be honest, Gavin, because starting out the year, when Ty DeBorca out after the All-Ireland last year, you're kind of you're kind of saying, God, without him for the coming year, you'd be a little bit concerned. But apparently, this Waterford team, they've got back Shane Bennett obviously in the forward line there, and there's a lot of speed there. There's a lot of they're an informed team at the moment in my eyes. They seem to be going very well. They've beaten Tipperary and Limerick, which would be the two teams which you'd think would be the forerunners for the All-Ireland Championship. And I suppose they came up short against Galway, but they were ahead of 7 or 8 points at one stage against Galway in that match, and I suppose that's probably one area that Liam would have been disappointed with the league, probably that they coughed up when they were that far ahead to actually lose that game. But having said that, they've showed a lot of glimpses of potential there, and I think their forward line looks very fast. There seems to be great speed in there, and they're taking on their opponents the whole time, so yeah, I suppose the only thing I would probably point to, Gavin, is maybe we're leaking probably goals, leaking a few goals in games. But other than that, yeah, I think this has been a very successful league for Waterford.
Yeah, and I suppose at the end of the day, it's all about the championship. And, win Sunday, Andy, you have Tipperary awaiting then the following week in the semi-final. And, for the losers, you go into the qualifiers and trying to pick yourself up after that. It's going to be really, really hard. So a win on Sunday would be massive, wouldn't it?
Yeah, winning Sunday is important for either team, but I suppose, look, there's no easy game now at the moment. A lot of the counties are very even, like the Munster Championship. Even from looking at the league, Gavin, you'd have to say the Munster Championship you'd be looking forward to it this year, because every team is in with a chance, and every team can turn over the other team in it, So it'll be an interesting couple of weeks ahead in terms of hurling and the Munster Championship for sure. But yeah, look, Waterford against Clare here on Sunday, Clare coming in under the radar. I suppose they had a shaky start in terms of their result against Antrim, and again another result against Wexford. Teams weren't, we hear all the stories coming out of Clare in terms of, I suppose, the differences between the county board and management, or I suppose allegedly they say, but in fairness to Brian Lohan and the team, they've knuckled down over the last couple of weeks, and they've had some great wins. They beat Dublin and I suppose Kilkenny as well, who have been going well. And if Kilkenny meet Galway in the Leinster final, they played, or in Leinster, that's the league final, isn't it? So that's a big scalp for them, in Cusack Park. So yeah, they're coming along nicely as well. So it makes for an intriguing clash here on Sunday.
Certainly does indeed. Bring it on, Thurles at 3:30 on Sunday. Now, I suppose Tony Kelly is a name we've mentioned over the last number of seasons, Andy, and again Clare's go-to guy throughout the league campaign. He'll take a lot of watching again on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a quality player, really. He can play in any position. He could play half back, he could play midfield, he could play half forward for you. He's often played corner forward, full forward as well. So he's a talisman definitely for them. And I suppose those 2 goals, the one from the penalty and the one from play against Kilkenny, they were crackers. So he's going to take a little bit of watching. But I think Clare in general have kind of recovered a little bit of confidence. As I said, they had a shaky start to the league. They've recovered kind of well, and they're playing with that little bit of confidence as well. John Conlon gone from full forward. From the forwards, I suppose, back to centre-back with David McInerney on one side, and then you've Conor Cleary at full-back. They seem to be steadying up a little bit. They seem to be getting their act together and playing with a bit more confidence. And then, I suppose, outside of Tony Kelly on the scoring side of it, you're looking at the likes of Aaron Shanahan now, who would have been a sub, I suppose, to John Conlon the last couple of years, is now at full forward. And you have David Reedy, who's playing very well, and then you have Ian Galvin, who's slipping in for a few points. But the lad that impressed me the most actually the last day was this Aidan McCarthy lad. He looks to be hard to handle. He looks to be very fast, and he seems to have an eye for goal. He knows where the goals are, so he's going to take a bit of watching. So this Clare game is going to be a tough game for Waterford. Because I suppose in the last couple of games we have conceded a couple of goals as well. So and if there's an injury doubt around any of our backs, we could be potentially in a little bit of bother. But I think the same could be said of Clare, Gavin, that they've conceded a good few goals over the last couple of games as well. I think they've conceded 2 against Dublin, 1 against Kilkenny, 1 against Antrim and 2 against Wexford, and have only scored 3 themselves, So they're conceding more than they're scoring. So I think if there's any weakness in this Clare team that Waterford could exploit, I think, it up front, and I suppose, we've seen Desi Hutchinson in form the last couple of weeks as well, so yeah, it should be a good game. It should be it's going to make good watching anyway.
Certainly should indeed. And you mentioned Desi Hutchinson and the Waterford forwards, and I suppose that's something that I know Stephen Bennett was mentioning last year after he picked up the All-Star, that Liam Cahill, Mikey Beavens and these guys are given the forwards and the licence to if they get inside the cover to take on their men and go for the juggler. And I suppose ultimately goals in Championship they're going to be crucial.
Yeah, I think it's important, Gavin, that you do give these players the licence, because Stephen Bennett is a chap that you can't really tie down. He can do some incredible things, really. We've seen it in under 21 over the years with him. Like some of the passes he's done, another player wouldn't even see him. So like a player like that, you can't tie him down. You have to let him express himself. And the one thing I would say about Stephen is, not alone is he doing well from frees, but he's chipping in with 3 or 4 pints, or maybe I think it was 5 the last day. So he's a serious player and a serious threat for anything. But it's good too to see the likes of Desi playing well in the forwards and getting those goals, because, to be honest, the old saying, or the old adage is, goals win matches. So we kind of need that type of player next Sunday against Clare, because, as I said, Clare do leak goals, and if there are chances there, you need a quality player like Desi, like Stephen Bennett there, and Shane Bennett as well, to finish these goals.
Absolutely, yeah. He got 2 last year, of course, against Clare in the All-Ireland quarter-final. Desi did up in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, and 2 crackers against Tip as well. Really seems to be coming into his own, and at the right stage. And of course, a lot of people argue that top of the ground hurler, the pitch in great nick and things like that this summer championship will suit a forward like Desi Hutchinson.
Look, he's a very fast player. I think Henry Shefflin alluded to it in one of the commentaries last year. His leg speed, I think it was in the All-Ireland semi-final against Kilkenny. His leg speed is unbelievable. He never really stops moving, even when he's going to the ball and turning, he's always on the go. So, it's very hard to tie down a player like that. And, you must remember Desi's first year last year at inter-county level was probably his first year at hurling proper in about, probably 6 or 7 years before that, because I suppose he was really kind of, given to the soccer. But, you can see the improvement, a huge improvement in him this year even again. And, even though he might have started off quite enough in the league side of it, he's really finishing strong. He's really after finishing strong in the league. And, those 2 goals against, the goal against Galway, you had the 2 goals against Tipperary there, as you mentioned. So, look, he's a player that this weather is made for, you know what I mean? And in a good pitch, he'll definitely thrive. He just needs good quality ball coming into him. That's the big thing,
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. Let's hope he gets it on Sunday. And I suppose a lot of debate over the Waterford centre-back position, or talk about it, I suppose, Andy, with the absence of Tadhg de Borca this year. Irla Daly filled in there in the league for a couple of occasions and did quite well, I suppose. But it'll be interesting to see now, I suppose, who's named at 6 on Sunday, with obviously maybe still a doubt, maybe hanging over Austin Gleeson and maybe a few more players as well. It'll be really, I suppose, until we see the team Friday night, I suppose it's pretty hard to predict at this stage, isn't it?
Yeah, even, I suppose, if you look at the backs in general, you can see, Prunty is definitely finding his feet, at fullback, Gavin, he's starting to really get going again. And again, after a little shaky start in the league, he's starting to come into it more and more and more now. Look, there might be a little bit of a doubt of an injury, but hopefully he'll pass any fitness test there, and because he's a big leader, for that team. I just found Ozzy was hurling well at centre back. Again, might be a slight injury coming into the game, but knowing Ozzy, I saw him yesterday. Actually, he seemed to be walking fine anyway. But I suppose walking and running are 2 different things. But he seemed to be going okay. Look, Waterford need him on form. There's no doubt about that. Whether that's in the backs or the forwards, I think we'll take him anywhere. Because he's a serious player, and I suppose outside of Desi Hudson in the forwards and Stephen Bennett, I suppose the player of the league for me so far, Callum Lyons, has just been phenomenal. And what an athletic player! I don't think there's as an athletic player in the country at the moment, really. And for any wing back to be scoring something like 5 points in play is serious scoring. So, look, the backs are good, but they need them all there. That's the thing, and these injury doubts coming into this game probably won't help. But having said that, if they take to the field next Sunday, Waterford are in with a right good chance here against Clare. I think I fancy them anyway.
Yeah, it certainly won't be easy, and Waterford will go into the game as favourites. There's no point saying otherwise, Andy. It was given the nature of last year's victory and maybe the performances in the league, but certainly from listening to Liam Cahill and Conor Prunty was speaking to Tomas the other night, they're certainly not taking this game for granted.
I don't think they can, because I said that, the nature of the Clare-Waterford rivalry over the years, I don't think you could take any of the games for granted. Even going back since, I think it was 1995, these matches have been fiercely contested, and the team that comes in underprepared or comes in kind of anyway, I suppose, I wouldn't say casual, because I don't think any of them come in that way now, but I think if they come in anyway thinking that, look, if they can throw any performance together, it'll do. I don't think it will. I think the Waterford team, the team that takes the field on Sunday, have to go at it hammer and tongs, 100%, and at the end of the day, Clare are a formidable force as well, and they've been showing improvement over this league, so their confidence going into this game will be high. So it makes for a good contest. But as I said, I fancy Waterford to come out of this. I think they have a little bit more in the locker than them. Even though Clare have the likes of Tony Kelly, I think they need probably one or two more Tony Kellys, really to topple Waterford here on Sunday.
And it should be an intriguing battle, and of course Tipperary then waiting down the wings, Andy, the following week in the Munster semi-final, so it's going to be a quick turnaround for whoever gets over the line on Sunday.
Yeah, it's tough on the team. I suppose the reward for the team that wins is you have to play again the following week, which is tough, and I suppose Tipperary kind of haven't really set the world on fire here in this league. They've been tipping away nicely, but I suppose the one element I'd be disappointed with them is that they're not trying out any. I don't think they brought on enough of the younger players to kind of mix them in with the older players there already. I think speed seems to be a problem with the backs anyway, for sure. And I saw that Waterford against Tipperary, even in the league, when Waterford took on Tipperary, Tip suffered. Tip couldn't handle them. Like they're hurling wise and all that. Tipperary to manage them, but I think speed is the problem, I think, at the moment up there, and you need young legs at times as well, Gavin. You can't depend. There's a lot of mileage on the clock with a lot of those Tipperary players. So it'll be an interesting game for whoever gets over on Sunday. Whether it's Clare or Waterford to get over to, what stage are Tipperary really at? Because look, we know ourselves that underday they're contenders for the All Ireland, but at the moment I feel that they're struggling a little bit. They're just basically chugging along.
Yeah, well, I suppose there's a lot of hurling to be played, and it all kicks off in earnest, I suppose, on Sunday. Waterford and Clare in the Munster hurling quarter-final is our George Corbett Skoda big match here on WLR Sunday afternoon. We're live from the famed Semple Stadium in Thurles at 3:15, in plenty time for the 3:30 throw-in with Kieran O'Connor and Owen Murphy, so looking forward to that. Andy Maloney, great to get your views as always. Appreciate you joining us.
No problem, Gavin. Thanks a million. Thank you.